everyone, welcome back or welcome to my channel. My name is Lauren and I make videos a couple of times a week about books and fandom things. So today, as you can see by the title of this video, I'm going to be tier ranking Percy Jackson characters. I'm having this as just Percy Jackson characters, so characters from the 5-book series that are in Percy's immediate world. I want to do a separate video where I rank the Magnus Chase characters because there's so many of them that is worth their own video, and I didn't want to include them in this video because I haven't read the Kane Chronicles yet, so then it would be everything but the Kane Chronicles characters. But this is going to cover Percy Jackson and the Olympians, Heroes of Olympus and Trials of Apollo. So the system that I have in place is a God tier, top tier, good tier, okay tier, indifferent, and nope. So of course it only makes sense to start with the boy himself, Perseus Jackson, who without a shadow of a doubt goes in God tier. This boy has some of the best character growth in any series I've ever read. The way that he starts and the man he becomes to be by Trials of Apollo is just so wonderful to witness. And obviously, like, he's so funny and so sarcastic, but then he's also really smart and he doesn't realize his like strategic thinking and the way that he can actually get himself out of situations, and I think he prides Annabeth a lot on that, which obviously she does do. She's also in God tier, by the way, spoilers, but also his ability to do that is really good, and I just think that it's very, like, by being the main character, I do think that main characters can often be underrated because they are the main character. Without quoting the musical too much, because you know the Lightning Thief musical is the love of my life, he is a good kid and he just wants to be a good kid, and he tries really hard to be a good son and a good friend and later on a good boyfriend. Like bits in Trials of Apollo and Magnus Chase where he's like, I need to get my high school diploma, like I need to graduate because I need to go and start my life with Annabeth because I love her. He knows what is important to him and he knows what is right to do, and the people that he doesn't want to hurt and the people that he wants to protect and live with and be with for the life that he has. I just think that he's just the best and I love him so much. He gets a lot of shit for things. He is not a god. He tries to get the gods to let Calypso off the island, and like people say, well, he never checked, he never made sure that was the case, like, but he does try and he tries his best to do what he can do against literal gods, you know, like these are literal gods, and he's trying his best, and I think he just gets like a lot of shit, and I'm just like, leave my boy alone, just leave him alone. Like, he is trying so hard and he deserves God tier because he's great and I love him. Like I said, Annabeth also up there in God tier. She has been through so much, so young. She just felt like she was so unwanted, but she comes from that, like, she's been betrayed by Luke, who obviously, like, she was such good friends with, and there was so many different complicated types of feelings in that whole situation. And again, like, I just think that she has this attitude and she always wants to obviously like use her wisdom and her strategy and put that into situations, but she does also have so many insecurities which I think people forget about, and it's very rare that she lets people know those, but when they are there you can see why she makes the decisions that she makes. And she's genuinely probably my favorite like fictional female character. I just think she's so wonderful, and just like, I strive to have the same mentality as Annabeth Chase. I just think she's so great, like just her whole attitude to everything, her determination, her fierceness. She's such a fighter, and not even necessarily in the sense of like a fighter as in with swords, like just everything she does and everything she's been through. I just think, again, an underrated character. Then we have Grover. Now I've put Grover in good tier, and this is not because I don't think Grover is not good. Obviously he's in good tier, but I never 100% connected to Grover, but that's just personal preference. And one thing that I will say about Grover is that he is in Trials of Apollo, and I really loved his appearance in Trials of Apollo. I didn't realise how much I was missing him until he popped back up and I could appreciate Grover's existence, and he also has such a determination to want to help. And I think that, again, like, I'm going to keep saying people are underrated, and like, as much as I didn't fully connect with him. I do think he is an underrated character, but even to himself, like, I think he underestimates himself and his ability to do things. But I just really love the fact that even when it came to like everything he wanted to do, like, he still had that determination and was willing to do what he could even when people didn't believe in him. And I do really love Grover. I just never 100% connected to him, which is why I'm putting him in good tier, but I do appreciate that he's a really, really good character and I really, really love him. Then we've got Luke. Now, Luke is really interesting. Like, at this point now, I think I'm indifferent to Luke. Like, I think I'm going to whack him in the indifferent column. When I wrote down his name in my notes, my initial plan was, nope, get him out of here, but that isn't actually what I think. So I've put him in indifferent because, like, right now I understand that, like, I have had this growth with him as a character and we've had to process loads of things in regards to him as a character, and obviously we're reading from Percy's perspective and we see how Percy feels about it, but then also we're seeing how Annabeth is affected by the whole situation, and obviously Percy is going to be pissed if Annabeth is sad. And I was on the same page as Percy when he says to her, like, I just don't want you getting hurt again, like, this is what he does. The thing with Luke is, like, as a person, I'm putting him in indifferent because right at the minute, like, I don't love him, I don't hate him. I'm not putting him in nope because ultimately it was bad decisions, and in the end you could tell he didn't want to be in those decisions that he made for himself. I appreciate the impact that he had, but I don't feel strongly about him one way or the other, so I'm just gonna rack him in indifferent for now, and that's where we're gonna go. Then we have Clarice. In the initial reading of Clarice, I think a lot of people consider her as like this angry kid, and like, I literally saw someone on Tumblr the other day call Clarice a bitch, and I was like, she's a kid, like, what the fuck? She's just a kid also dealing with so many things. Her dad is obviously the god of war. So we talk about how Annabeth has things from Athena, and Percy has powers from Poseidon, and Nico can have powers from Hades and can do certain things, and you think, well, yeah, so it makes sense that Clarice would have a little bit more aggression because her dad is the god of war. Like, that's not going to have not played a part, and I think people forget that. I put Clarice in good tier because I do really like her as a character, and I do think a lot of people's initial read from her is that, oh, well, she's very aggressive and blah 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 blah, but actually, like, she's just a kid dealing with so many of the other things that everyone else is dealing with, and dealing with her dad, like, never, like, not talking to him and not knowing him, and then knowing that he wanted to start this war. She's a character which I feel like you have to sort of dig a little bit deeper to find out what Clarice is like, but then she gets dismissed so easily when actually there's so much to her and so many good things to her, and yeah, I really like Clarice. Then we've got Sally Jackson, who is just ultimate god tier. Sally Jackson, this woman, the shit that this woman has been through. Sally Jackson is the best fictional mother. Obviously, we talk about Gabe, and we know Gabe through Percy's perspective as, in the first book, a 12-year-old child. So he knows that Gabe is an asshole and he doesn't like him. But Percy is away at school a lot of the time, and when he comes back, obviously he doesn't like Gabe, but he doesn't, like, fully grasp the situation because he's a kid. The more I think about it, the fact that Sally literally resorted to turning him into a statue suggests that the shit that he put Sally through was a lot more serious than I think we're ever told in the book, and that Percy's aware of, obviously, because he's a child and Sally's going to protect him. The things that she was put through to protect her son, like, she deserves the whole freaking world. I love her. I love Sally Jackson more than myself, and I think she's a queen. She is a goddess among women, and she deserves that god tier spot. An icon is what she is. An icon. And then we get Paul Blowfist, who also deserves to be recognised in this tier ranking. He gets top tier. I think he's wonderful. I really love him. I really love the way that he treats Sally. I love the way he treats Percy. Percy sees him as his dad. Like, he literally refers to them both as his parents at one point. Paul is having such an amazing impact. The way that he deals with everything that's happening with Percy is so wonderful, and he continues to be there for Sally, and he's just constantly there and constantly supportive. And I just feel like Paul Blowfist does not get enough credit. We should all appreciate Paul Blowfist for the man that he is and what he does for his son and his wife, and I love him. I love him so much. So then we're gonna go to Nico. Now, Nico goes in top tier. The thing I really love about Nico's character is that he has a really interesting exploration of, one, grief, because obviously he loses Bianca and he's a kid, and I feel like not many books explore the grief of children, and I have spoken so many times about how important I think it is to have grief in book. He's a really good character for that and has a really good exploration of that, and it shows different stages of grief that he's in, which I really appreciated Rick Riordan doing. I also obviously really love his sexuality journey and the fact that it's a I don't love the fact that he struggles, but it shows the way that he feels amongst himself, and then the struggles that that can have, and the way that that can impact you. Because also, like, as much as I love positive LGBTQ plus stories, which Nico's ultimately does end up becoming, there is that struggle, and I think even if you know people are going to be okay with it, there is such a struggle to have, and internalized homophobia and having those feelings is something which is really, really hard to live through, and I feel like people don't seem to understand that a lot. And some people say, like, oh well, Nico's just like really rude. Nico is dealing with so many things, and the gods put a lot on him, and I just feel like Nico's character's growth was really, really good, and he became such an amazing character by Trials of Apollo. I love him. I love his development. I love him and Will, and I just think Nico deserves all the hugs, and I would love to talk to Nico and tell him that things are all good. Then also Will, who we get to see more of in Trials of Apollo, and I really felt like more of him. I've put him in top tier. I think he's really sweet. I love his drive to want to help. I do see similarities between him and Apollo, but Apollo, like, in a good way, like the good sides of Apollo and the way that Apollo is in Trials of Apollo. And I love his relationship with Nico and like the back and forth like banter that they have, but then also you can tell they really care about each other, and I love that him and Nico are getting this kind of happier ending where they are together and can be open about it. And I really love Will. I think he's really good and definitely a character which I don't see loads of people talking about, but I think he's really great. Then we have Meg from Trials of Apollo, Meg McCaffrey. Love her. She goes in God tier. She is a 12-year-old kid that has been through so much, but yet is able to fight for what's right, realise how she's being treated at such a young age, and come away from that. Basically leaves everything she's ever known at such a young age. I think people forget how young she is. All the things that she does, I think she's amazing, and she absolutely deserves that God tier spot. Then we're gonna have Jason, and I'm just gonna put him in like the okay tier. The reason why is because I just don't really care about Jason. I think he was alright. I think he's overrated in my opinion. I think out of all the people that were on the Argo, so many of them like are so underrated, and Jason's so overrated, and I just kind of feel like he just, I don't know, like I just feel okay about Jason. Jason's just always been okay. I've never connected to him. I've never really felt anything about him. I'd love to know people's opinions on Jason, because for me, I just never had that connection, and he's just okay. On the other hand, the other Grace sibling, Talia, queen, my queen. Love her commitment, love her fight, love her fierceness, love her loyalty, love all of the way that she is, her character arc. She absolutely perfectly fits Hunter of Artemis. Like, she's just such a queen. Like, oh my god, whenever Talia pops up in a book, I'm just like, everyone's gonna be okay now because Talia Grace is here. And it just feels really chill and really nice, and I just fucking love Talia. I just love her. Like, okay, she's just the best, and Talia gets put in top tier because she's just great. She's just absolutely great. I think she's wonderful. Genuinely, like, she is a recurring character that I feel so happy about when she pops up. Like, she genuinely makes me feel really, really happy. Then we have Frank. Also gonna put Frank in top tier. Very underrated in my opinion. He is a character which I just feel like did not get as much praise as he deserves. His fight, his loyalty to his family, like everything he's dealing with, like the wood being burnt, and like the gods knowing that he was going to be powerful, and Juno showing up and be like, by the time this burns, like, you're dead, pal, and like everything he has to deal with, but then he still helps and he still fights and he still wants to protect his friends, and he is just so, like, such an amazing character and such a complex and detailed character, and I love him so much, and I just feel like he never gets the praise that he deserves for everything he does. That is also the same with Hazel, who also goes in top tier, because obviously she's dealing with the fact that she was dead, now she's back, she has a brother, she came back from the underworld, and she's also dealing with the fact that she's not the sister that Nico necessarily immediately wanted to bring back. She's just dealing with so many things, and like that must be so much to process mentally. Some of my favourite storylines, like in so many things that I like, are that concept of coming back from the dead and what that must do mentally. And I think with Hazel it's also a lot to deal with, and I think that everything she does after, like, whilst dealing with all of that and everything that's going on with the prophecy, I just think she's an amazing character and I love her so much. We've also got Piper, who also goes in top tier. Again, I just feel like because she's a daughter of Aphrodite, she's seen as like, oh, all about love and all about this, and isn't good about, like, with so many other things, when actually she has so much potential. She's so smart and she uses everything that she has in order to help in every situation. She can always, like, she's always able to support her friends, but also knows what's good for herself, and I really appreciate that, and I really appreciate the way that she does that and the things that she puts forward in order to help herself as well, because I think that that's something which is very underrated and not seen a lot in characters and in stories. So I love Piper. I don't think she gets as much love as she deserves. Then we have my boy Leo Valdez, who is absolutely god tier. I love Leo. So, like, why? I just genuinely, like, my fave fictional characters are all sarcastic mechanics, you know, like, that's genuinely clearly my fictional character type. Leo is just, like, I love his humour, I love his attitude to everything, I love his love for his friends. The whole thing with Calypso, that determination to go back and save her, is just wonderful, and I love him, and I just think he's just, I think he's just great. I just love Leo so I like will literally scream about how much I love Leo Valdez. My friends just get multiple messages about Leo, you know? Like, all the time. I love him. I loved him in Trials of Apollo. As soon as Harley said about, like, trying to get him and the beacon to draw him in, and they said about the Dragon of Bronze, I was like, Festus. It's Festus. And then he appeared. Genuinely shed a bit of a tear when he popped up, my boy. Okay, so now let's go on to the gods. Let's start with Zeus, who absolutely goes into the nope column, because Zeus is a little bitch. I just do not understand any decisions that he makes. Like, I just do not understand his logic in any situation. Like, he just wants to make a decision because he's Zeus. The fact about these gods is not that they don't interfere because of, like, not wanting to be like like, you know, like not wanting to have the power and having people make their own mistakes. It's not that. It's that when he decides to interfere, the decisions he makes are wrong, and, like, he doesn't need to interfere in that way in order to, like, negatively impact everyone's lives all the time. And then, like, you listen to him talking, you're just like, shut up. Just shut up. Why are you like this? He just confuses me. Like, his logic for every situation confuses me, and he just truly is a whiny little bit. Poseidon also gets a nope from me. Like, I did wonder to put Poseidon in a slightly higher category, but to be honest, I just don't think he deserves it. I know that Percy says that, like, he gets to visit him and, like, meets his stepmother and, like, gets to stay in his undersea palace, and that, you know, he does come through at some points, but, like, I just think, you know what, Poseidon, like, in history you are shown to just be, like, annoying and just horrible all the time, and I don't like him, and he's Percy's dad. I felt like he should have gone in a higher category, but like at the end of the day, he still has a lot of power to interfere, to make a positive impact, and yet he doesn't do that. And like, Sally had to stay married to Gabe in order to protect Percy, where maybe Poseidon could have, you know, protected Percy a little bit without Percy knowing, or anyone else knowing that it was Poseidon doing it. Like, if he had to stay a secret, but you're literally a god, so why are you not impacting? Why are you not helping? Like, you literally are the reason Percy, like, exists, so do something about it and, like, help them. How about that? Maybe just, like, don't be a dick. Like, he goes in the note column, and you know, that's it. That's where he belongs. Then we have Hades, and I actually put Hades in the good column because I actually like Hades. Like, out of the big three, if I had to chill with one of them, I would definitely go chill with Hades, especially with Nico. Like, he put them in the Lotus Hotel to protect them. Like, he actively did something to protect them when Zeus made that stupid decision. Like, he, like, actually did that. Like, he actively protected his children. He offers Nico a place in his palace. He is actively there and fights because Nico has asked him to fight, and he actively does things in order to help Nico, and because Nico has asked him, and he listens to his son, and he actually does want to make an impact and help Nico. And I just think Zeus and Poseidon could learn from him. I mean, obviously he's still Hades and there are still so many other things he could do. He definitely is not perfect, but I just feel like he is a very active, and he gets on with his job, and he's just chill, you know, and he just tries to help his son. And I just feel like Hades kind of redeems himself in my eyes, and that's why I feel like he deserves a higher ranking, because, you know, he actually does do some things that help in a positive way, unlike Zeus. Then we have Hera, also in the nope category. Like, I just feel like Hera doesn't deserve the power that she has, and I just feel like if she's gonna go about trying to link the two camps or try and help or try and do something, I just feel like everything she does, she goes about it in the wrong way. And I don't think it's because she actually wants to help. I just feel like she thrives off the drama, which, like, I kind of get, but also you don't need to remove someone's memories and like have them go missing for like 8 months just to try and make a point. There are so many other things you could have done to help in that situation, and she just didn't do any of them. I just don't feel like she deserves any praise whatsoever. Then we have Apollo. Now, I am treating this as like Apollo the god, but then I'm also his growth in Trials of Apollo, which I think is really important and really good. And I really like him. Like, I liked him as a god anyway. I'm gonna whack him in good tier. I liked him as a god anyway. I thought he was actually one of the more decent ones, but obviously he was quite like big-headed and a little bit self-obsessed, but he does know his kids' names, and they know him, and he is like a little bit involved, which, you know, is like slightly redeemable. But more importantly, his growth in Trials of Apollo is so important. And I think that as much as I think Zeus's logic for so many things is just so stupid, and like turning him mortal, like not the turning him mortal, because I understand that as a punishment, but the things that he then went through that Zeus could have helped out with, which he just didn't do, just seems ridiculous. But that feeling, that humanity, I think it has had a really important impact on him. But I do think that if it had been someone else that hadn't necessarily had that ability to feel that humanity, but they've been made human, they wouldn't have had the same positive impact that that's had on Apollo. I think that he was always someone that had the potential to be receptive to that humanity, and that's why I really like him and feel like he deserves slightly higher. Then we also have Artemis, who is also in the good tier. I just love her commitment to being like, I don't need no man, I am fierce and a warrior and a fighter, and I'm gonna create a whole little army of amazing women that don't need anybody. And that's exactly what she did, and she gets on with it. She's great. I love her. She's committed. She like has a cause, and she sticks to her cause, and I just think she's wonderful. Then we have Aries. Aries goes in nope. Aries is just annoying. His decisions are just very questionable. Why? Like, why is he like this? Why is he this way? Like, I imagine being the god of war is like tough, but that doesn't mean you always want to have to start wars. Like, that's like, you don't need to do that. He confuses me. I do not understand him. Then we have Hermes. I've put Hermes in okay tier. I think Hermes is alright. I feel really sorry for him because I do feel like he actually does care about his kids, and then obviously everything that went down with Luke, I feel like he was actually upset about some of those things, and he does care about his children, and like he does kind of have that sort of involvement. And obviously the Hermes cat being taking in kids that have not been claimed. I don't know. I feel like Hermes is just, he's alright, you know? He's an alright dude, and like they are gods. So they're not always involved, but I feel like Hermes just, he is a little bit, you know. And also he is the postman, so I have to appreciate his like work ethic and the daily grind, you know. Then we have Aphrodite. I've put her in the okay category. To be fair, the only reason why I put her in that is just because I think that everything surrounding her is just hilarious. The way that she just confuses Percy when she's interested in his love life. She's not the best, obviously. She just continuously has affairs on, but I'm not completely indifferent to her, and I don't dislike her because, like I said, she does make me laugh, and whenever she pops up and Percy's like, oh my god, it makes me laugh. And I do appreciate like the way that she talks to Piper when she claims her, and that she does have sort of a more caring nature with Piper, and the way that she talks to her. She does truly love, and the people that she loves, she treats them in like a nice way. So like I do like that attitude. So she's in the okay, because like I'm not completely indifferent, nor do I dislike Aphrodite. Then we've got Hephaestus, who he's in the good category. Like I feel sorry for him with everything that happens with Aphrodite. I think he's so funny that he just, over the years, he's like, I'm just gonna set traps for her and Aries just this whole time, and like using the things that he makes to just capture them. I find it kind of a little bit funny, and I really like the way that he is with Leo, and the advice that he gives him, and the way that he talks to him in the Heroes of Olympus series, which obviously is good because that's at a time where there's no kind of massive help, I mean, is there ever, between the gods and their children because of everything that's happening with their counterpart. Like he helps Leo a lot and actually ends up helping those on the Argo. I do actually quite like Hephaestus. I think he's one of the better gods. We have Athena, who I almost forgot, which is really bad because I actually am her godly parent. If you take the Which Godly Parent Are You quiz on Rick Riordan's website, she is my godly parent, so I'm very sorry, mother. I've put Athena in the good category because I really like her in history. Like I've actually genuinely always felt really drawn to Athena. So when I found out that Annabeth, like she is the daughter of Athena, and we were going to see lots of Athena in the Percy Jackson series, I was really happy about it because I've always been drawn to kind of that wisdom and the strategy and the way that she thinks. I also really love her, and she does stand up for things. She does stand up against the other gods, so she gets good tier. We've also got Calypso. Now I put her in good tier. I think that I really liked her on the island. Some people don't agree that she should have been taken off of the island, but I really like that kind of storyline, and I like that Rick Riordan went down the plot of her struggling with her magic and it not being the same, but then also the fact that she'd finally been given a life outside of what was essentially her prison, and the fact that she was in prison there, but it was also somewhere where she called home, and then now she's dealing with being essentially mortal. I really like her. Like I think she's really sweet, and I really like that her, Leo and Percy got to have the moment that they get in the Trials of Apollo series. I just think she's underrated, and I think people don't agree with her to be with Leo, but I don't dislike that, and I think they sort of balance each other out a little bit, and I'm just excited to see like if she gets the life of not being held on an island anymore, and getting to kind of live her life the way that she should have been done and the way that they should have treated her. Then we have Mr. D. Mr. D, I've just put him in okay. I don't particularly love him, but I did really like that he did show like genuine worry for his kids, because obviously he works at the camp with them, and then during one of the battles he wants to make sure that they're okay, and I did like that kind of correlation with him, and it did show that he was sort of a little bit of something else under the kind of exterior that he presents, but still I don't love him and I don't particularly hate him, but I'm not 100% indifferent to him, so he's just in okay. And then Chiron. So Chiron I'm also like okay / indifferent. Like I don't particularly love Chiron, I don't hate him, he's alright. Like that's all I can really say. I've never fully connected to him. he's alright. That's how I feel about Chiron. Chiron is Chiron. So yes, that is my tier ranking of the Percy Jackson characters. I'd love to know your thoughts and how you would rank the Percy Jackson characters. Leave me your thoughts in the comments. Like I said, if you guys are new here, then I make videos a couple of times a week about books and fandom things, so if you want to stick around and join us, feel free to hit that subscribe button and the little notification bell. And as usual, all the links to my other social medias and also my podcast are in the description down below. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you're doing really, 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 really well, and I will see you next time. Goodbye! Thank you.